Thank you all for joining us today for Inside Abu Dhabi Healthcare 5.0 Investment Opportunities Driven by Innovation. This webinar is proudly organized and hosted by the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. Audio is the government hub supporting private sector investment in the emirate. We work with innovative companies to achieve long-term sustainable growth in Abu Dhabi. I'm Salvatore Lavallo, Head of Foreign Direct Investments at Audio. It's been my pleasure to work with our ecosystem partners to discuss incredible expansion plans with dozens of healthcare companies from all around the world in our region. Tonight, we are excited to share these discussions with you and specifically to focus on how innovation is pushing the sector forward. In Abu Dhabi's Vision 2030, healthcare was identified as one of the pillars that will form the architecture of the Emirates' social, political, and economic future. Over the last 10 years, Abu Dhabi has built considerable health infrastructure and capacity, more than double our physicians per capita from 20 physicians per 10,000 population in 2011 to 45 in 2019. In that time, we have doubled new infrastructure of medical facilities to nearly 2,500 and introduced technologies like the Malafi Health Information Exchange platform, which incorporates artificial intelligence for digital, financial, and notification systems for our population of 2.9 million who all fall within one of three insurance segments. This is boosted by a strong and competitive regulatory environment, swift access to capital, and presence of global CROs. This competitiveness and high quality of care has been proven during these hard times as Abu Dhabi ranks #1 globally for COVID tests per capita. We are dedicated to continue with our focus on healthcare with inspiring developments in Level 4 biosafety labs, centralized biobank and COVID-19 sequencing, 2 cellular therapy centers, a P20 life science strategy, and more. Overall, this impact comes into fruition through the coordinated work of the many government bodies that are working together and the innovation from the private sector, both of which you will see today. Tonight, we've brought together a holistic lineup of speakers that will provide you a deep understanding of the sector. You'll hear from the leaders of government organizations as well as the entrepreneurs making an impact. At the end of the webinar, we will also have a Q&A session. You can submit your questions in the bottom right corner of the portal where it says Ask Guest a Question. If we don't get to any of the questions tonight, we will get back to you over email in the next 48 hours. To kick us off, I would like to introduce His Excellency Dr. Tariq bin Hindi, Director General of the Abu Dhabi Investment Office.
Thank you, Sal. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And as Sal just said, there's a very strong focus on the healthcare sector. I'd like to welcome you all to another one of our Inside Abu Dhabi webinars where we're trying to showcase all of the core sectors as well as the opportunities that exist in Abu Dhabi. Next slide, please. I think if you look I think I was there for a minute. Apologies for that. Sorry, Sal. Yeah. 1 second. Sorry about that. We like to start our presentations always by highlighting the vision of the late Sheikh Zayed, may he rest in peace. And we've built a lot of our policies and our programs to try to deliver on his vision for what it was he saw Abu Dhabi accomplishing in the long term. And we're very proud to say that we continue to expand on that and we continue to grow and build in a very positive manner from where it is that he set that sort of pillar in the sand and in stone for us to grow on. Next slide, please. I think if you look at what we've accomplished taking that vision into account is that Abu Dhabi, from being a strong, stable economy with an established infrastructure, being business friendly and a place that residents love to call home, we've tried to encompass every aspect of what would make Abu Dhabi the best place for you to not only run your business, but to access opportunity and to live safely and comfortably in a beautiful emirate. We are we account as Abu Dhabi for over 55% of the UAE economy. We're amongst the 30th largest economies in the world. We have a very solid infrastructure here, number one in the world and the first country in the world to have 100% fiber to home connection, very business friendly, and we continue to push the boundaries to make sure that we keep moving up that ranking. And again, very happy to say that 4 years running now, it's the safest city in the world and the happiest city in the Arab region. Next slide, please. Part of what drives that is the way that we've designed the innovation ecosystem, from having an entrepreneurial mindset, an environment, various funding sources, an integrated infrastructure, and the people that call Abu Dhabi home. And that is that diverse talent have that continues to grow. If we can go to the next slide, please, that would be great. Abu Dhabi is a healthcare hub, again, strategically located, world-class offering, a very hub and spoke approach to how it is that we built the healthcare network, lots of information, and we continue to make that data accessible. A lot of international patients visit the UAE and come to Abu Dhabi because we have world-class infrastructure here, as well as some of the largest international medical providers based in Abu Dhabi, from Cleveland Clinic, Imperial College, the Mayo Clinic, and so on. Again, the ease of regulation and how quickly it is that we adjust that regulation to make sure that we are adapting to technology and the implementation of that technology in the healthcare sector, as well as how it is that we're trying to improve the healthcare quality index. Next slide, please. If we look at the Abu Dhabi healthcare opportunity today, you're at the healthcare sector is contributing 7 billion to GDP, or that's as of 2019. Approximately 43,000 high-skilled and number one city. Now, going forward, we want to maintain that global testing capacity, but we want to increase the high-skilled jobs in that sector by at least 7,000 people, and we want to grow this to be a 10 billion GDP contribution by 2025. We've made a lot of strides in COVID-19 related activity in terms of the vaccine, in terms of how we're looking at production. We're looking at regional issues that affect many of the countries here, from diabetes and obesity, looking at genetic testing. And again, that research and tech from clinical trials and medtech is very important to how it is that we see this growing into the future. Next slide, please. So again, Abu Dhabi has many of the core fundamental components that we're looking at in terms of how it is
Seems that we are having minor technical difficulties with His Excellency, but it is always inspiring to hear about the truly nation-building essence of our work, and I'm sure that we'll hear more from the investment office later on. Now, though, we will hear from one of Audio's main partners, the Department of Health, and Dr. Hamid Al-Hashmi, who's the Director of Strategy for the Department of Health Abu Dhabi, and he will be giving a presentation on what the vision of Abu Dhabi's healthcare sector looks like.
Hello. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you here today. And what I'll be doing today is giving you a little bit of the landscape of the healthcare in Abu Dhabi and the vision, and as well as some of the work that we are doing in terms of how the Department of Health is enabling the transformation of the healthcare in Abu Dhabi, in collaboration both with the public as well as with the private sector. So a little bit of the history. We look at the healthcare evolution into three main parts. The period from 2016 and before that, and that the period it was about us, the Department of Health, how we structured the healthcare industry into a regulator, a provider, and a payer, in a way creating the right accountability, as well as incentivizing the different kind of investment and infrastructure that we have been achieving over the past decade or the 15 years. And during that period, as well as we played a key role in terms of shaping the evolution of the care in Abu Dhabi through various kind of policies as well as standard. And in a sense, the whole period is about building the capabilities, building also the infrastructure within the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. From 2017, 2019, this period basically is a reflection about the previous decade. We have done a lot of assessment, a lot of review about the achievement as well as the gaps. And for us, so that we have the right roadmap, the right future direction when it comes to how the healthcare in Abu Dhabi will be transformed for the coming decade. In a sense, we are bringing together the providers, the payers, and the regulators all together into one platform, into one table, and we achieved that through establishing the Strategic Partnership Council. It's a membership that led by our chairman, but as well as with the CEOs of the different big providers, both from the public and the private sector, as well as the payers, and as well as we established a technical advisory board. The main essence of it, the main trust, is whatever change and transformation is going to happen with within Abu Dhabi is going to be done in collaboration with the different actors within the ecosystem of the healthcare industry in Abu Dhabi. And also recently we established the pharmaceutical committee, which also represented by the different pharmaceutical players, actors within the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. As we move forward, we're taking this step, this experience further in a way about how we co-create, co-design the future of the healthcare in Abu Dhabi for the coming years. So the main achievement from the past decade, it was the ability of Abu Dhabi to more than double the number of facilities, as well as the number of beds, the number of physicians and the nurses, and 70% out of these achievements build up, and the different building blocks within the healthcare actually been enabled, been pursued by the private sector. And in a way, we want this kind of collaboration to continue for the coming transformation that we are talking about. With this transformation, Abu Dhabi has achieved a lot in terms of the outcomes to our patient, whether in terms of the readmission rates when it comes to heart failures and other indicators, as well as big achievements in terms of the breast cancer, where we had a reduction of the incident from 64 to 18%, and we have plenty of these indicators that we can demonstrate. However, as we move forward, we are similar like any other healthcare industry. There are still some challenges that we need to address, and these challenges will be around the burden of chronic disease, as well as the burden of regulations, and how we look at the regulations in the future. If we are going to transform the healthcare, what will be the role of the regulators, and how to enable this transformation from happening. We want to move away from being reactive and only responding to illness. We want to bring solutions. We need to bring a model of care that will tackle the different patient journey from staying healthy, the prevention once they get to the hospital, as well as to sustain their health once they get to their home or having chronic disease. So what we have done extensive kind of exercise locally and externally as well, to understand the main forces that shaping the healthcare industry. So we come up with different kind of macro trends that we see the healthcare is going to change, going to be affected by, and we want to be on the frontier of this change rather than only the recipient of these changes and this macro trend, whether it's in the preventive care, birth-work medicine, being resilient, or precision medicine. So all of these elements we wanted to bid on some of these macro trends, and we want to make this change happen, and we want to embrace the change and the transformation that we foresee that is going to come for the healthcare industry. And the different scenarios that we come up with, we realize that the consumerization of health is coming as very strong. We see that many non-traditional players that coming to this in the industry, and we want to embrace this one, as well as having a clarity on how we deal with this kind of scenario. The power of incentives, how we can transform the financial sector or the financial reimbursement system within Abu Dhabi, so that we embrace the change and the technology. And technology, in a sense, is a big player, is a big game changer when it comes to the healthcare. I'm going to dive actually into in my presentation around the technology and how technology and digital health will transform the sector. And this transformation is going to be happening only with the collaboration with the different parties or actors within the system, the technology partners, as well as traditional players. We see data is going to be democratized. We need to make it available, as well as at the same time, we're preserving the data privacy. We see care is coming more to home. We see that the entire ecosystem need to be redefined, and certainly technology will have a big disruptive in terms of the model of care that is going to be shaped within Abu Dhabi. In here, we capturing some of the snapshot about how we foresee the sector in Abu Dhabi is going to be shaped. What are the things that, how we foresee the healthcare in Abu Dhabi by 2031. So well-being is the main focus for us. We see that people will be much more empowered through different solutions of taking their own care. We see that primary care will be a main driving force for the change that is going to happen. Digital, in a sense, will be there, as well as medical tourism, and we have done a lot of work around medical tourism is going to grow. Other key indicators for us and things that we are pursuing, life science is a work that we jointly working closely with the Department of Economic Development, how to grow this sector, how to create the cluster that will enable the growth of this life science industry in Abu Dhabi. And we open up the door for clinical trial, innovation and research, and my colleague Dr. Asma will dive into this area in a while. So a lot of aspirations that when it comes to the healthcare, and we articulated the changes that is going to happen. And one of the big change that we already seen that is happening within the sector, which is digital health, is already changing the healthcare industry, and we're seeing it in two dimensions. We know that technology is advancing, but also we would like to see our own model of care in Abu Dhabi also changing with the adoption of a new solution, new technology. And in Abu Dhabi, we wanted to be on the top quadrant to the right, where we are riding the wave of this change and leapfrogging the adoption, and as well as coming up with the solutions that will satisfy our society and will have the desired impact on our patient. For technology to happen, we need to focus on the main value creation principles that we already established in Abu Dhabi, which is having the right access, the quality, the right outcome for our patient, but as well as being efficient and in the services that we provide. We have learned a lot from the COVID that we need to be impactful in terms of reaching out to our patient and having the right impact, but as well as the system has to be agile and also very much responsive to the need of the population, as well as responding to the changes that we have into the sector. So what we have done, we developed a framework that will help us to guide us how we get into this digital transformation. At the center element of it is about our patient. It's about the persons that we exist to take care of them. And our value proposition is about how we keep our patient staying healthy. This is about the prevention programs and the solutions and how we're going to shape this programs that we have now. If the people, they get sick, then how with the value proposition, we make sure that they are getting better, as well as how to sustain their health. And we foresee that digital health is going to be a big factor in realizing our value proposition to our society. We develop guiding principle in terms of selecting the right technologies or the right directions, and these 6 principles becomes part of our routine work when we discuss about technology or about the transformation. We want anything that we do in terms of transformation, it has to be person-centered, being resilient, innovative, and also a key factor for us is being adapting a collaborative approach in terms of the transformation. Otherwise, we don't see the transformation will happen without the collaboration with the different players within the ecosystem, whether private or public sector. And the vision for us, we want Abu Dhabi, healthier Abu Dhabi, offering a personalized, insightful, driven, and also value-based treatment, and the state-of-art pervasive and preventive care and well-being. And for that, we look us as Department of Health as a broker that will enable innovation, will embrace innovation, will embrace transformation. In the past, we were having a lot of regulations, and that was necessary. As we move forward, the system is becoming mature. There is less investment from the government. It's more reliance on the private sector to come and be a big player into the transformation. And hence, we want to play the role of embracing the change and supporting this collaboration through different principles. It's about how to address the necessity of the sector, being transparent to our investors, being consistent in the policies and the directions, as well as having the right accountability and having the right impact and being responsive to the demand of the ecosystem and the different actors within the ecosystem. An example of that, when we speak about digital health, it's not only that we take about the solution, we embedded actually digital health into our policy framework. We wanted it to be part of the framework so that we enable digital health. We develop policies around artificial intelligence. We develop standard on data privacy, as well as 2 weeks back, we published a standard on the use of Internet of Medical Things, as well as enabling, realizing that many small clinic, they want to have a cloud-based EMR. We established a standard for that, as well as other standards on telemedicines, and all with the objective about how to enable and embrace the change and transformation within the sector, and also encouraging different players to come and contribute to the growth of the sector within Abu Dhabi. The policy principles are 4, which is about being person-centered, the infrastructure, the legal and ethical aspect is a crucial element for us, and we're addressing all of the legality, the use of the data, as well as securing the data element, and how to ensure also that Department of Health has to become adaptable as well as flexible when it comes to deal with the future transformation. A big change that we have, that we are introducing in the sector through our digital health strategy is about how to build to bring the sector as a whole into one platform. This platform will be composing on one data platform about the data, an analytical layer, an orchestrator that will be orchestrating the change and the solutions and the technology along with different partners through a consortium of partners in the existing system, as well as into non-traditional players or the technology partners that also play a big role when it comes to the change of the healthcare industry. And an example that we have done that will illustrate where we stand, this is what we did during the COVID. We have many fragmented systems within the healthcare industry. We have Malafi, which Sal mentioned in his presentation, and this is the Health Information Exchange. We have our own key engine, which is about the claim. Istijaba is about the crisis management, and we have 20 other kinds of solutions. And what we have done, we brought all of these different solutions into one platform and collecting all the facilities and the labs, and that in a way, it has been instrumental in terms of how we, as Abu Dhabi, been able to respond favorably to manage the COVID crisis as we move forward, and that, in a sense, created the right insight for our leadership. Now, a big lesson learned for us. Well, we say, okay, it's not only about COVID. I mean, this is an opportunity for us. Even we go beyond that one. How about we bring the whole sector into one platform when it comes to data, when it comes to analytics, and we provide through the consortium partners, the different analytics, and becomes data analytics as a service through a platform that will enable creativity and innovation within the healthcare industry. Some of the solutions that we have done in the COVID, we developed the digital wall, and this is part of the platform. The different dashboard and the reports, as well as because of enabling, because we're bringing data into one platform, we are able to launch the program what's called the population at risk management. This is addressing every elderly and chronic disease patient, approaching them with the right kind of awareness or interventions to make sure that they are getting the right treatment of care during the COVID. We have the contact tracing and all these other solutions that we are also collaborating with different technology partners when it comes to getting the right insight about the COVID. But the same principle, we are expanding this principle, as I mentioned, where we're adapting a concept where we're bringing this platform and we're creating a platform that will enable analytics as a service as well as data as a service for the industry as a whole. One example that we're pursuing around this kind of dimension, which is the sensing and the surveillance platform. This is a collaboration within the Department of Health, but as well as with other departments. We're bringing all the data assets into one platform. We create the analysis and we make it available to the different constituents within the healthcare industry. As we move forward, and the big change that we are introducing is the concept of having the digital health orchestrator. Basically, once we build the platform, once we build the analytical platform, we are in a sense similar to a marketplace that need to be created, where different solutions will be tapping into this platform and enabling different SMEs or entrepreneurs to come up with solutions, enabling them to connect with the different players or the 2,500 different clinics and hospitals within the sector as a whole. And the value proposition for us is really about the patient, is about how to create a one-stop kind of a services that will be enabled through a platform, but through the different solutions that will be coming into this platform. And in a sense, the provider will benefit from that, as well as the payers. And us as a regulator, we will have the visibility on the different transactions that are going to be transacted within the sector as a whole. And as we move forward, we evolving into creating a center for digital health that's already been created through a different kind of consortium of partners. We have G42, they will be participating with us into this session here. We have SAL, Microsoft, IBM, ADA, Malafi, as well as the Hub 71, which Dr. Asma will talk about it. And then also other players that are more than welcome to be part of this orchestrator and this transformation that is happening within the healthcare industry. And the way we look at it, we want to establish Abu Dhabi as a strategic think tank when it comes to digital healthcare. We want to enable the evolution of the healthcare industry within Abu Dhabi, creating us as an analytical hub with all the data science, with all the technology partners that they can play a bigger role into this transformation. We're going to enable availability of data to innovators, to academia, to SMEs, to those and pharmaceutical. We already have some partnership with a couple of them, as well as to make this data available to different players, as long as we secure, of course, the confidentiality of the data and the data privacy. We put ourselves into a roadmap. We are working now heavily into establishing the foundation for this layer, as well as to the different solutions that already been established and being rolled out. And some of it hopefully will be discussed by other colleagues within this session. Thank you all, and I hope this is providing somehow a landscape about the different changes that we have, not only from the vision and the strategy, but as well as what is happening in the ground, how the Department of Health enabling this transformation and enabling the evolution of the digital health technology and innovation within the sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. It's amazing to see the nonstop growth and quality of this sector over the years through the leadership of DoH, and we're excited for all of these new initiatives that you've just taken us through. We've seen some of you asking for copies of the slides, so we wanted to let you know that there is a recording of the event that will be shared with all attendees, and please continue to submit your questions in the bottom right corner of the portal where it says Ask Guest a Question. So now we will hear from Dr. Asma Al-Manai, Director of Healthcare Quality Department, Department of Health, Abu Dhabi. She'll give us a presentation on healthcare research and the innovation ecosystem.
Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to meet with you here today. I'm going to talk about the ecosystem of healthcare research and innovation. So my first talk is going to be about why we care so much about the research and innovation ecosystem. The idea is that if we want to have a clear idea or a clear focus on the implementation, we need to focus on our goal. What do we want to do? And the number one is improving the quality of care for our patients. This is why we have to work hard and invest in healthcare research and innovation. Because we know that when we do that, it's going to enhance our national resilience and develop our local talent, improve the quality of care, and address our strategic directions of improving the medical tourism domain, and will provide a better access of care for our patients. Going into deep dive of the structure of our work, it follows a clear strategy and clear goals to determine our implementation. We are focusing on identifying the healthcare challenges that we face here in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. And we are inviting the international innovators to come up with their creative ideas and solutions to help us solve our challenges, our local challenges. And in order to do that, we are able to accept and adopt the new concepts even within the specific regulations. So what we do is we create a sandbox environment with collaboration with our partners and enable those innovators, the mid-tech and any type of healthcare innovation to test their proof of concept within a clear regulatory supervision. And we help them prove the concept of their innovation, having an access to the patients, having an access to the market, and to test their innovation. And if it works, then we help them throughout the roadmap of scaling, adoption, and commercialization. And we partner with our local corporate players like hospitals, insurance, in order for them to adapt those innovations. Because if we want to improve the quality of care, we should not settle for a status quo. We have to ask for more, a better, higher quality, better access, better efficient, cost-efficient approach. And by doing so, we know that the GDP contributions and the investment in healthcare is going to be also positively impacted. That will foster the environment for the local investors to work and create a international competitive business model, and we will support, and we are supporting the current startups and SMEs in order for them to expand from Abu Dhabi to the world. We want to create a business of sustainability, because what will work in Abu Dhabi, inshallah, will work for the whole world. And this is why we are encouraging not to be like the innovator custodian, however, more of a supporter and an enabler of the ecosystem. And we support them by creating the appropriate business model that will prompt for a higher level of collaboration. We also work with the startups and the innovators to provide the necessary education throughout their journey from incubation, working with the university, acceleration, and adoption. The value proposition that the Department of Health is providing is really extremely useful. So the Department of Health is offering a technology assessment and approval for the Emirates of Abu Dhabi, in which we have coordinated work with subject matter expert to evaluate technologies led by the Department of Health and assess and approve the health-related technologies for the use within Abu Dhabi sector. In addition, we provide a proof of concept environment that will be easy for implementation, and we provide the coaching for the startups who are interested in the healthcare domain towards what are the patient requirements in the health sector. We connect them with corporate partners, the service providers or health insurance or others, and oversee the implementation to ensure that the result is going to be for the patient's safety and for the patient better quality of care. Also, we work with our partners to stimulate innovators and startup attractions by participating in local, global, and international events that would attract and source out innovators, like within the TIP Healthcare Award that was carried by the Department of Economic Development. We also participated in JATEX Future Star, and we have launched the first MENA Region Healthcare Accelerator and work with the Plug and Play and also other institutes. So we are very determined in taking the innovation toward the implementation for the healthcare domain. And in addition to that, we support the commercialization, and that is the value proposition. This is the unique differentiation in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi, because based on a proven success of the proof of concept for those startups and its implementation and the impact on increasing quality, we have the true evidence that this is going to create a potential high quality or a savings or an improved access. Those technology, we have included them within the commercialization concept and the insurance scheme by having the appropriate evidence-based support on its impact. And we have many, many startups that are already now, their services are offered as part of the insurance scheme within the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. Last but not least, about the education and coaching, we realized that the unique environment of the Emirates of Abu Dhabi and its nature of its patients and its different domain will require a specific type of coaching and education where we can ensure that the startups or the SMEs or the innovators are not going to be alone in the endeavor of healthcare, domain. We will work with them and to challenge if there is any regulations that is, for example, hindering or not enabling the innovation to be implemented. We go back and change those regulations to fit the overall outcome. And we can, demonstrate that perhaps maybe in the panel discussion as well. So the Department of Health here is an enabler for the adoption of new technologies and research within the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. This diagram explains the complexity of the ecosystem that we work with. However, I believe that the strong collaboration has made this process fairly easy. We take the concept from the research, from the universities, local or international, and we support the research translation toward and implementation, applied research. And from the applied research, we provide all the support and enabling requirement in order for the enterprise and startup to be fostered in the environment. And also moving from that, we provide also the support with our partners to expose them to possible private investors that might take it and scale up the businesses, and ensuring that all of this happens in a seamless situation and a seamless process. The partner, the connectivity or the collaboration with the partners are the key success factors. So we understand the different roles and responsibility. For the Department of Health to be the regulator of healthcare, we are responsible for ensuring that the enabling environment for adoption is there. The source of innovation comes from our academia, and this is where we are working in a support for them to make those innovations move from the lab concept toward the applied and bedside concept. We are working with the Hub 71, and actually we have created our health tech within the Hub 71 environment. So we have our offices there where we are closer to the startups, and we provide the required support from a regulator point of view for those startups to move within the whole ecosystem of healthcare. This again just describes the various level of interactions and the work with our government stakeholders and other stakeholders, and everyone plays his important role toward making this innovation ecosystem complete and easy for the innovators. So from the applied research point of view, with the work with the universities and the Advanced Technology Research Council, to the academia with the research and R&D level, to the products and development, and working with all types of academic institute or the biopharma industry, and also the multinational, let's say, companies, and also working with the different initiatives across the startup and SME domains, the Hub 71, the Plug and Play, Gadan 21, and having our established health tech hub within the Hub 71 have made that domain fairly easy and making that ecosystem adaptable for any new challenges. We cannot regulate the future. We can only co-create the future together with the innovators. This is part of the offering of our health tech hub within the Hub 71. Along with our partners, those are the elements of coaching, education, proof of concept design and implementation, investor exposure, expert network, and market entry support. All of this offering is available in the ADGM Hub 71 with our partners Plug and Play, DoH, and also Abu Dhabi Investment Office. Let's talk numbers. Currently at the research domain, we have more than 56 authorized healthcare facilities that are conducting a human subject research. We have more than 250 qualified IRB committee members across Abu Dhabi only. And until 2020, more than 2,000 research have been conducted with more than 1,000 published articles in well-reputable journal. And the number of publications have been increasing throughout the year, where the maximum increase have happened the last 2 years. When we talk about the technology and adoption of the startups, we know that the number, although we started only in 2019, we have had a growing long list of SMEs wanting to join the health tech innovation ecosystem, and we have more than 75 SMEs already in discussion to create the POCs and joining the technology hub. And this has become extremely useful, and I'll share that in a few minutes in the COVID crisis. So just a snapshot on this year, what has happened so far? COVID has really been the strongest accelerator for research, healthcare research and innovation in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi, and I believe the world. So the number of research has increased exponentially worldwide and also here locally. We have, in a matter of a few weeks or just month, more than 200 research dedicated for COVID in order to find the unknown, to have a solution for the unknown problem of COVID, whether it is in diagnostic or therapeutics or in prevention. For the first time, we have started the clinical trial for vaccine in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. This is unprecedented, and it is not only in Abu Dhabi, but the whole UAE. So this acceleration of active clinical trials happening in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi made, it's a clear evidence on the enabling environment and the supporting environment for establishing of clinical trials, whether it is from the start until from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and even following up on the post-marketing with phase 4. This has been easy or implemented. The ease of implementation has happened because the Department of Health has established an Emirates-wide committee for research and technology that is responsible for the technology assessment and approval for research as well. And in order to do that for COVID, it has been created, a specific committee has been created for COVID, where we have reached a maximum of 8 days from submission to approval. This is world record. The benchmarking with the worldwide, I believe it's, no one has done it less than 8 days for an appropriate IRB approval from submission to approval, which gives a strong push for the research to happen more frequently, and there is no delays in implementing research and clinical trials. We have also had international collaborations with reputable international entities like Monash University, Janssen from Johnson & Johnson, Sanofi, and Harvard Medical School to run a bilateral discussion and agreement, and making sure that research is going to be done at the international standards. So there are interests from international collaboration to have research happening here in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. And more to that, with our partnership with the Plug and Play, we have worked on establishing the Alliance for COVID, to fight COVID, and where 15 partners have been already working together from various sectors, not only healthcare, to source startups. And more than 120 startups have been sourced. We have had 2 roundtables discussion and shortlisting of more than 30, and the POCs have been, discussed for implementation. So this is again where the work of technologies and health tech have been a collaborative approach for us to solve our problems and the COVID problems in specifics. So in a nutshell, what I would like to summarize for all of you, that the Department of Health have taken a very enabling approach into research and innovation in healthcare. We are opening all our challenges together for the innovators to help us solve those healthcare challenges and improve the quality of care for our patient. We are receptive. If there are regulatory boundaries that is not enabling a technology to be implemented in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi, then we are having the appropriate environment for the change of regulations if it's proven to improve the quality of care or having a positive impact for the patient as well. So with that, I would conclude my presentation for today, and we are happy to receive any questions, and we look forward for more innovators to come to the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. It's honestly inspiring how many public and private sector players have been working together. This coordination and collaboration is key to the success of innovating healthcare in Abu Dhabi. And more on that collaboration, as we had some technical difficulties with His Excellency Dr. Tariq, I will now go through a little bit more about the Abu Dhabi Investment Office and the role that we play in this innovative sector of healthcare. So, As you can see through the presentations that we have had from the Department of Health, healthcare is a sector that is particularly well placed to benefit from Abu Dhabi's innovative mindset. We have a myriad of opportunities for all types of investors, whether starting new initiatives, new ideas, or large global corporates coming to expand into the region, looking at Abu Dhabi and the Emirates as a market, or getting access to all of the markets that are within reach in South Asia, East Africa, and the rest of the Middle East. And the next slide, please. So the Abu Dhabi Investment Office is the central government hub that supports private sector investment into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. We help any company in any sector that is either expanding to Abu Dhabi or growing in Abu Dhabi. And we support these investors and businesses that have innovation at their core, and we look to see how can we ensure long-term sustainable success in Abu Dhabi and across the region. The three roles that we really focus on is how do we promote Abu Dhabi as an investment destination? How do we give all of the great information about all of these great changes that are happening in all of these sectors to the investors? Also, how do we attract and facilitate investment into the Emirate by giving incentives, by helping hold the hand of investors through their journey of establishing and setting up in Abu Dhabi? Next slide, please. So at the investment office, we support the private sector through our investor care services and a host of incentive instruments. I will take you now through these. So on the next slide, starting with our investor care services, next slide, please. Yep. On the investor care services, we provide end-to-end support during the business setup phase of your investor journey. So we're really here to hold the hand of the investor and be the problem solver to answer any questions that you might have about how do you establish in Abu Dhabi? How do you grow? What is the regulatory environment? What is the policy environment? This list that you see is a non-exhaustive list, and we really do have investor concierges that are here to give bespoke services to an individualized attention to any investor that might have any question. But some of the things that we really do give as primary support includes data gathering, stakeholder networking, understanding licensing and permitting, access to real estate, doing site visits, as well as giving a talent information and understanding the visa and immigration policies. Next slide, please. We also provide a range of financial and non-financial incentives to investors. On the financial side, we do two main things. The first is that we give an incentive rebate program. This is on a pay and reclaim basis where we are able to cover certain percentages of key cost centers of an investor's project in Abu Dhabi. The things that we typically cover are on high-skilled payroll, high-tech capex, as well as some cost competitiveness factors such as utilities, office space. Again, we're really able to look individually and in a bespoke manner with each investor and see what can move the needle for you in order to make your success in Abu Dhabi more sustainable and to accelerate your expansion and that success. Financially, we also work with our other ecosystem partners within the government so that whereas we might provide the incentives, we look at what are the other offers for equity, for exemptions that we can give access to through the Abu Dhabi government network. On the non-financial side, we provide assistance across the board. We support businesses looking to set up here. We support businesses looking to expand here, and we really have a few ways. Internally, within the investment office, we have our investment concierge, as I've recently explained. We also have our relationship managers so that each company that signs an investment rebate deal with the investment office will be handheld through the process. We'll always have somebody to be there and to listen. We provide assistance on access to land, office space, other facilities. Depending on the sector, we are able to take you through all the sites that might be relevant for your business. We also provide that regulatory assistance. We help with trial licenses. We connect you with the Department of Economic Development to look at how to get the establishment, and we're able to be the ear of the private sector to the government in order to really see what are the barriers to entry and how can we ease those barriers so that you can be more successful more quickly. We also look at what are potential exemptions or for government fees or government requirements for companies that really are going to have an impact on Abu Dhabi. And that's what we're always looking at, is what is that impact on Abu Dhabi? How can we move towards knowledge economies and economies of the future and really focus on these innovative companies like we have seen discussed by our colleagues from the Department of Health? So I think overall, the three things that I would remember about the investment office is we are here to help any company coming to Abu Dhabi that is innovating, that's either expanding or growing here. Number two, we are able to do so in a really bespoke manner, looking at each company individually to see how we can support. And three is that we really work with this broad ecosystem of all of the players, giving not only the incentives that we can provide, but the assistance that the entirety of the Abu Dhabi government can give. And on the next slide, has some of our information. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can visit our website, Invest in Abu Dhabi, as well as email us at inquiries@audio.ae. And we are happy to answer any questions. Again, there is the question box in the bottom right corner where it says ask guest a question, and you can put any questions in there now. And we are now going to switch to our panel discussion. And we, again, have seen a lot of you asking for copies of these slides. We are going to be sending a recording of the event with all attendees. So please look out for that. Please ask the questions. So the panel will be moderated by Dr. Omar Najim. He is the Senior Advisor of the Department of Health, Abu Dhabi. We work very, very closely with Dr. Omar, so he's part of the Abu Dhabi Investment Office family. The exciting panel that he will be moderating features 4 private sector companies who will be discussing how innovation is helping to redefine healthcare in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much, Sal. It's an absolute pleasure to be with all of you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for wherever you are. And I hope you've been finding whatever got presented by the expert so far useful and enticing for you to get in contact with us in order to make your company, your idea a success for the benefits of you, for the benefits of the population we serve, for the benefits of the region and beyond. So for today, seems that it's fallen on me to try to manage the few panelists that we put together today. So we have 5 panelists today who will be going through their experience of setting up, operating, achieving successful growth in Abu Dhabi for the benefits of their companies as well as for the benefits of the patient we serve and the region. So without further ado, the first one is Mr. Ashish Koshi. He's the CEO of G42. G42 is a leading AI and digital solutions company in healthcare as well as other industries. He himself is an entrepreneur and solution-driven leader within that space. And over the last few years, despite the young age of G42 and definitely of Ashish, they've been achieving fantastic growth, fantastic steps, and acting as a catalyst towards driving healthcare, not only here, but across the region into the future. 3 of the main elements that G42 involved in is first the biggest of its kind so far, a clinical trial phase 3 of COVID-19 vaccine, achieving a recruitment target of 31,000 volunteers. To put that into perspective, that's more than all the Middle East, Africa, and Turkey clinical trials volunteers combined for the last 5 years. Also, G42 is leading on the genomic project, the largest of its kind in the world, aiming to sequence a full genomic sequence for about 1 million population. And now they've announced recently the Arab genome, which is aiming to sequence about 10 million genomes. Second, we have Jeff. Jeff Campricos is a great friend of Abu Dhabi. He's the Director of Government Relations and Communication for GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. Many of you know who GSK is, but from Jeff's perspective, he's been leading on the communications affairs and the government affairs in the whole of GCC. And one of key mandates is strengthening the introduction of and showing the details around the innovation in the biopharma industry. Needless to say, Jeff is hopefully the next candidate for the United Nations Secretary General because of his extensive travel of 140 countries and 27 years of experience spanning all of these countries from his professional life. Next is we also put together Mr. Yassin bin Ali. He's the board member and a recent startup in the healthcare field, OkaDoc. He's the chief operating officer and a key example of how to achieve success in Abu Dhabi through the support we put into his startup. His background is in investment banking, real estate, hospitality, and entertainment. And we hoping, and I think he did, transfer a lot of that experience into the startup that is achieving great traction within the healthcare system. Next is Mr. Majid Abu Zent. Majid Abu Zent is one of the key pillars of the healthcare system in Abu Dhabi. He's the Chief Operating Officer of United Eastern Medical Group. It's one of the major groups in healthcare in Abu Dhabi. He's also, as part of that, is the CEO of Health Plus Specialty Centers. These centers not only provide primary care, but also provide IVF, and they brought big international name to the ecosystem, like Moorfield Eye Hospitals and a few others. His background is he's been one of the key managers in the King Hussein Cancer Center, and his background in terms of education is master's degree in healthcare management and microbiology and immunology. Last but not least is Mr. Mohammed Dawood. Mohammed Dawood is the Gulf and GCC regional general manager for the Middle East of Unilab network of laboratories. I think it's fair to say he lived almost all of his life in UAE. He went through the phase of being an entrepreneur, started scientific clinical laboratories in Dubai, that he achieved growth into it, and eventually got acquired by Unilab Network, which is based in Switzerland. And his main focus currently is on business turnaround, customer centricity, and continuous growth, which been achieved to great success during the COVID-19 era and through the innovation and the collaborative mindset they have. So without further ado, this is the panel that we have today. I'm sure it will be very useful. And good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so just to set up the rule, so I'll be shooting the questions. I'll mention your name. I'll try to manage the technology to the best of my abilities, and hopefully we'll land safely in about 20 minutes or so, without any major embarrassment. I can't promise no embarrassment, but let's try to avoid major embarrassment. Okay. So if I may, I'll start with the youngest in terms of ecosystem player. So we'll start with Mr. bin Ali Yassin. Can I, for the benefits of the audience we have today, can I start with the questions of how is Abu Dhabi as an ecosystem has enabled your business to set up or grow? And if you can give us specific examples on that. Yasin? Mr. Yasin, you are muted. Okay. Mr. Ali, I'll go to somebody else and I'll come back to you. So if we ask the same question, if I may, to Ashish. Ashish, would you take that question on board? How did the ecosystem in Abu Dhabi enabled, let's say, G42 to achieve many of the successful growth they achieved over the last couple of years?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Amar. And first of all, good afternoon to the previous speakers, panelists, and the participants of this webinar. It's definitely a privilege to be part of the strong panel. To answer your question, Dr. Amar, how has Abu Dhabi as an ecosystem enabled Group 42 specifically? We've been extremely fortunate to be led by UAE's visionary leadership and the progressive regulatory policies set by the Department of Health that encourages research, technology, and innovation in the healthcare sector. Health is one of the biggest national priorities in UAE's vision, and our fundamental and applied AI research, coupled with our cloud computing platform, we are trying to play a leading role in the healthcare sector, and we are here to realize that aspirations together. Some of the examples where perhaps Abu Dhabi as the ecosystem has worked for us, specifically, we were together with the Department of Health, we're able to launch the Population Genome Program. A population scale initiative by the Department of Health allowed us to partner with some of the leading sequencing technology providers and to provide and channel our core capabilities, which is specifically on artificial intelligence and cloud computing, to lay the foundations of future precision medicine. Furthermore, together, again, with the Department of Health, we were successful in launching and executing one of the world's largest clinical trial, and in Abu Dhabi's and UAE's first clinical trial for the inactivated platform COVID-19. The other key points that help in this entire ecosystem is the regulatory support, as Dr. Asma mentioned previously in her talk. The policies are optimized to facilitate innovation and, most importantly, at scale and speed. Case in example, our G42 Biogenics lab that was built and operationalized for COVID-19 testing. It was done in a record 14 days and in response to a national urgent need. I don't think this sort of timelines can be achieved without the right regulatory policies and the togetherness and collaboration of a public-private partnership. Some other examples are not specifically around Group 42, but Abu Dhabi's Health Information Exchange Malafi, which was in place at the right time to deliver an integrated COVID-19 testing and reporting, definitely amplified the efficiencies to come up and take the right decisions. Another point I feel essentially at this juncture is perhaps UAE's foreign relationship has opened doors for partnership, Group 42 specifically. We've initiated strong partnerships also with Israel on collaborating on COVID-19 diagnostics and also specifically in research. So together, I do believe all these points definitely help Group 42 in driving forward in the healthcare sector.
Great. I believe Yasin is back online. Yasin, can we try to give your perspective as a recent startup into how the ecosystem enabled it?
Are you able to hear me now?
We hear you well.
Very good. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure being part of you. And going back to the question, I think Abu Dhabi has created a great ecosystem for startups like us to settle and to operate. And I think that the Abu Dhabi 2013 vision has set strong measures and objectives toward digital transformation across many industries. And and specifically, having the Ghadan Venture Fund in contributing to set up the venture capital for the startups, as well as the launch of Hub 71 as an accelerator, which we are part of Hub 71, and we've received an investment as well from Abu Dhabi Investment Office, has helped us tremendously into being able to set up our offices in Abu Dhabi. But we also benefited from the ecosystem that is the universities and as well as the healthcare providers that are available in Abu Dhabi. It is very well known that Abu Dhabi is home to one of the best healthcare providers in the region, and that helped us tremendously into making sure to deliver the mission that we are pursuing, which is bettering the healthcare experience for all, be it a patient or a provider.
Clear. Thank you, Yassine. Very clear. Jeff, could you give your perspective from an international company, and how does the ecosystem enable whatever you have in your mind in terms of growth and in terms of helping in general, achieving GSK vision, let's say?
Thank you, Dr. Nejm. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, just by way of a little bit of introduction, GSK has actually been operating in Abu Dhabi for probably 50, 60 years. We've been providing our cutting-edge medicines, our vaccines to the population for a long time. And I think, in a way, it might have all just started and ended there. But what's really different the last 4 or 5 years, and accelerating in the last year or so, is Abu Dhabi's interest in becoming a hub for research, development, manufacturing, exports in the life sciences and biopharma sector. So beyond the really important essential task of the mission, if you will, of providing our medicines and vaccines, we've branched out recently. So we're looking for a localization opportunity, a manufacturing opportunity in the Gulf and in the UAE specifically. And so we did a tie-up about a year ago with a very high-quality manufacturer in Abu Dhabi. Now, we looked up and down the Emirates. There are a number of producers here who would meet the requirements. But at the end of the day, we were very happy to set up shop in Abu Dhabi. The other thing is we've just opened a new scientific office in Abu Dhabi. And I'm very privileged to chair the new advisory council that we've set up in Abu Dhabi to talk about the policy issues that affect investment, employment, and innovation in the sector. And I have to tell folks listening in, this is the only one of its kind anywhere in the Middle East and Gulf region, where we have regular meetings with policymakers and officials as the pharmaceutical industry, as the innovative biopharmaceutical industry, to talk about the opportunities and any policy challenges we might encounter. I should also mention that our association has recently legalized the association with Abu Dhabi Global Markets. So there's some legal advantages to operating out of licensing out of Abu Dhabi. And right now, GSK is looking at the clinical research environment. Dr. Esma talked about how nimble the Abu Dhabi has been, really taking the lemons of COVID and turning it into lemonade for the population of Abu Dhabi and for the sector. And it's unprecedented, really, to hear about new clinical trials that can be approved in 7 to 10 days. I think she said 8 days, and we've seen proof of that. And then finally, I should mention that there's also an interesting interplay in the Emirates between the federal sector, the federal piece, and Abu Dhabi. So policymakers at the federal level are also attuned to building an ecosystem at the federal level that encourages innovation, investment, employment in the sector. Now, that's coupled with very smart policies at Abu Dhabi's level. So, for instance, the UAE is the fastest country in the region and one of the fastest countries in the world to review cutting-edge medicines, promising medicines and vaccines, and make them available to the population. The goal here is to always be in the global top 5 or top 10 countries. Just last month, the federal government passed a new package of intellectual property protections that position the UAE as the country in the 60-country Middle East Africa region that probably offers today the best package of intellectual property protections in the sector. So I'm excited about what's happening in Abu Dhabi, and GSK is a player there and will be a bigger player in coming months and years. But I'm also excited about what I'm seeing at the federal level, because the two go together. You can't have one undermining the mission and the goals of the other. So I think our business is set to grow, the underlying business of vaccines and medicines. But I also see that there's now new potential for clinical research as Abu Dhabi has vastly streamlined that procedure and made it much more predictable for global innovators.
Thank you, Jeff. Very useful. Now, can I go to Mohammed Dawood now and ask the question? So we talked about what's in general the factors that contributed to the success of the different players and the different panelists, and Dr. Asma, Dr. Hamid also talked about it. But from your perspective, Mohammed, what is unique about Abu Dhabi? Why we are unique? Why do you think we are unique in the first place? Mohammed Dawood?
Thank you, Dr. Amar. Of course, I'm not going to repeat what Dr. Asma and Dr. Hashimi said earlier with all the KPIs and the stats and the facts. But indeed, I mean, there is a very big level of uniqueness that we have experienced in our organization. I'll just relate to an example. I do recall that in the early stages of the pandemic, we were asked to ramp up capacity for testing. And we had some challenges to ramp that up through two main areas, which was equipment as well as people and human resources. So at the early stages, when the entire world was in lockdown, the Abu Dhabi government and the UAE government overall stepped up and supported by allowing our colleagues from outside the country in Spain to enter the country and support us with the ramping up of the testing. And also allowed utilize the foreign services for getting in equipment that were very difficult to get our hands on from outside the country. Both which led us to be successful into ramping up the testing capacity. And frankly speaking, we have operated in 17 countries at the moment, and the level of support we received from the government over here has not been comparable. Now, one thing we noticed is that there is a common unified vision from all the different institutionalized entities here in the government, and it's moving towards a similar direction of ensuring that the development of the local innovations continue to be rapid and continue to progress. Encouragement and engaging with research initiatives with the universities and other facilities have proven that ultimately it can be materialized towards becoming a growth opportunity for the businesses. So I would say that overall, from the entire overlook of all the different segments of the institutions in the public sector here, has the right mindset and right attitude towards driving it to the level of uniqueness.
Thank you, Mohammed. If I can go to Majd and probably ask the same question. Now, Majd, you've been here and growing part of a growing business and a successful business, I should say. Please don't hold any punches, so you can say whatever is in your mind. But for the benefits of the audience, what is unique about Abu Dhabi? Why you don't go and do it in some other countries or some other regions, let's say?
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Omar, first of all, for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure to be a part of this distinguished panel. Can everybody hear me clear? Just a quick sound check before we get on.
Very clear.
Okay. I think just to give you a brief overview about the organization. So UE Medical is an Abu Dhabi-based organization. We are 10 years young. We do own a network of more than 75 specialized hospitals and clinics across UAE and Saudi Arabia. As operators in different markets, this of course gives us more transparency and oversight over the broader ecosystem. And we have a wonderful opportunity to compare and contrast and benchmark regulators and practices and drivers across the region. Although a lot of us tend to feel that the region is quite homogeneous, in fact, there are a lot of distinguishing factors which position each emirate or each country to a number of benefits. What we've seen, to be honest, over the past 10 years is a very strong and firm regulatory framework, as well as a very highly competitive market. So to serve a limited population of about 3 million, we have more than 44 hospitals, many of which are world-class, and thousands of other healthcare operators. So, you have a highly regulated market, you have a highly competitive market, and both these are key factors which drive quality. So what's unique about Abu Dhabi, one of the issues is that it's created a very high quality healthcare infrastructure, delivering high clinical outcomes and a particular attention to patient safety. The second contributing factor is looking at the market. Abu Dhabi is the first city in the region to have universal health insurance from as far back as 2007, so almost 13 years ago. What this has created is a high growth sector. And given healthcare operators the demand for healthcare services to be able to continuously expand and invest in their infrastructure and in their services. So number two, you have a high growth developing market. At the same time, quite recently, what the Department of Health has been doing is tapping the brake when it comes to supply. So we're very comfortable working with a regulator who wants to prevent oversupply in the market and ensuring sustainability of the businesses. So the Department of Health has created capacity tools, trying to guide investors in the right direction to invest in areas where there are key opportunities and avoid oversaturation in areas with good demand, good supply, and good quality of care. So when you put all of these components together, what you have is a high quality, high growth, and high sustainability sector in which we are operating. These are perhaps the three most important components which allow us as providers to determine and decide that we want to now invest in innovation and research. If we don't have these key parameters, we will be more preoccupied with competition or making the business make sense or looking at creating long-term sustainability and de-risking our investment. But with a safe investment, we're able to leverage our priorities towards looking at innovation and research. And this is what we've actually started doing in the past few years. I also want to touch on what Jeff was saying in terms of Abu Dhabi moving towards becoming a knowledge-based economy. We have felt that gradually, but more consistently over the past couple of years. We believe as a healthcare provider, it is our role to contribute towards establishing this priority for Abu Dhabi. And we've started focusing very closely on integrated clinical research and education, the result of which has been multiple collaborations with academic institutions inside UAE, all across UAE, but also, as Omar mentioned, reaching out beyond our borders and looking at clinical collaborations with organizations like Sick Kids Hospital out of Toronto, University College London Hospital out of London, and of course, Moorfields Eye Hospital as well, bringing in their vast capabilities and expertise to support local research and education as well. I hope this summarizes our perspective on the Abu Dhabi healthcare ecosystem.
It does. Thank you. Thank you. I keep getting reminded of the time. So I'm going to ask the next questions again for the benefits of the audience. I'll get the whole panel one by one to answer it, but you've got 1 minute. And I've asked IT to cut you off if you go beyond the 1 minute. So from your perspective and with the expertise that you've got in Abu Dhabi, and appreciating what Majd was saying earlier, Abu Dhabi is not only a market that is constituted of 3 million that lives in Abu Dhabi, but it's also the gate to the region. So the gate to the GCC region, with its about 100 million population, and beyond that, which is the 400 million population that Abu Dhabi has proved that it's accessing and it's the gate for. So in your perspective, where do you see the business opportunities are and the innovation that will be happening in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years where entrepreneurs should focus on? I'll ask the most recent entrepreneur. So Yassine, can I start with you, and it will be 1 minute. While Yassine is answering, I'll get Jeff, Ashish, Majd, and Dawood at the end. So Yassine, where do you see the innovations and the business opportunities in the next 5 to 10 years?
Look, there is a clear shift in the healthcare seeking behavior, especially with what has happened this year, the COVID-19 pandemic. And this change in the healthcare seeking behavior, we've seen it globally and we've seen it also regionally, and it accelerates the demand for a digital transformation or a digital adoption of technologies to enable access to healthcare. From our side, from the very beginning, we focus and we put our priority to utilize technology to improve the healthcare experience. We've started doing it by connecting patient and doctors and enabling the patient to book an appointment and manage their appointments online. And what we have seen is that during this pandemic, there is an acceleration in terms of remote healthcare or virtual healthcare. And I think this acceleration comes from a need that is based on the healthcare providers being able to deliver care in a different way, in a more modern way or a more virtual way, and also the patients to be able to access care, which is a human right, but they can access it in a way that is not location bound, and they can do it over virtually or digitally. So from our side, I think that healthcare will be more prone to embracing digital technologies to enhance the outcomes, to enhance the experience of the patient, to enhance the journey, the entire journey that not only starts when the patient arrives within the four walls of a healthcare provider, but it starts way before that and it finishes way after they leave the healthcare provider facilities.
Very clear. Thank you, Yassine. Very clear. Jeff, and I'll try to do a better job in keeping to time there.
So look, let me be very clear as we're winding up our session here. The innovative biopharmaceutical industry, GSK, we see Abu Dhabi as a rising tiger in biopharma. There are many things to like: nimble policy making, joined up interagency policy making, many things we like. I love the new emphasis on clinical research. But here's the most important thing I can tell your audience today. Unlike so many countries around the world, unlike most countries in the Gulf, the Middle East, many of the emerging market countries I've worked in, unlike countries that tell you, yeah, we have an open door, come on down, anytime you have a problem, we can discuss. We have all that here, but here's what's different about Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi pledged to the innovative biopharmaceutical sector, we will not take a policy decision affecting your sector without meaningful consultation. So you can have great clinical research policies, you can have great intellectual property, pricing policies, all of that. But the thing that ties it all together is a joined up government that looks you in the eye and says, we won't take a decision without meaningful consultation. You'll never be surprised in Abu Dhabi. You will have predictability in your business. Doesn't mean we always agree on everything. We're adults in the room, we get that. But that is a hugely assuring pledge from government officials, policymakers at the senior level of government to say, we will work with you. You won't be taken by surprise. We'll talk about the policies together. I think that's the most important thing I can tell you today.
Agree. Thank you, Jack. Ashish, your closing remarks on what are the opportunities? Again, 1 minute. Hate to remind.
Sure. No. So absolutely, I think with the backdrop of the pandemic, the key critical areas definitely for growth and innovation in Abu Dhabi and generally the world is, like Yassine had previously mentioned, providing healthcare remotely, telemedicine, AI imaging solutions that can be deployed in the cloud, wearable technology. One important sector that I do believe also that would kickstart and would be in the focus area in the next 10 years is precision and prevention medicine, specifically around genomics, where you can combine electronic health records, health information exchange, and genomics together and harness AI put together to understand the population, to preventive measures in advance before any potential outbreaks in the future. And generally, digitizing healthcare solutions would be the future and the next growth potential.
Thank you, Ashish. Mohammed?
Thank you, Dr. Omar.
Mohammed, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Where do you see the opportunities are? Thank you.
I mean, of course, it's the given that we are moving towards complete healthcare, relatively complete healthcare digitalization. Rolling out from, there's a decreasing supply of, say, anatomic pathologists and subspecialties in radiology, which is what's pushing us towards digitalization within these two vital sectors. However, preventive medicine is continuously rising, and the awareness level of it continues to grow, where the dependence for testing is not reliant basically on diagnostic, but more towards preventive. I mean, replicating what the other members were saying earlier as well, where different customized and tailor-made precision medicine is being brought out today. This is an area where I feel that the patient trend is moving towards, and the healthcare sector is moving towards. And we really encourage that, and have heard the same as well from colleagues in the different sectors replicating the same. So that's pretty much where we see it.
Great, thank you, Mohammed. Majd?
Because everybody covers everything. So
no worries.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Hello? Yes. So the advantage of being last, everybody covers everything. So I can pretty much summarize it. So I agree with all of my colleagues. Definitely genomics is the future, machine learning and AI. I would add robotics, and we've started experimenting with robotics for multiple reasons. The cost of robotics has gone down considerably, almost less than 20% of what it used to be a couple of years ago, together with the comfort level of patients. And having robotics also ties into providing some type of remote surgical care, not only remote consultations and remote monitoring. In terms of sectors, I just want to add that the key driving sectors or specialities, I'm sure will continue to be primary care, chronic disease management, and also an overlay of mental health. It's very important to see the stance that digital health and digital transformation will play as part of a much broader mental health spectrum. In terms of Abu Dhabi and its positioning, I want to echo everything my colleagues have mentioned. Abu Dhabi should serve not only as a captive market of more than 3 million patients with over 20 million episodes per year, but also as a gateway to the broader region, and also as a leader in terms of innovation. So one of the key projects that we've heard about today is Abu Dhabi Health Information Exchange. Abu Dhabi is one of the first cities around the world to have a unified health record across the entire sector, both public and private. And this just shows how Abu Dhabi is keen as an emirate to lead in terms of innovation. So I would urge everybody who's on this call to take advantage of this opportunity. You will find most providers are keen to have multiple pilots, POCs, support and fund various projects and ensure that you have a strong use case to drive across the rest of the region and potentially across the world. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you. I do apologize for all of you if I interrupted too many times, but the time keep getting when you're having a really good conversation. So I'll just try to pick up on a couple of the questions that were asked by the audience. One of the question, is Dr. Esma with us as well? Great. Hi, Dr. So one of the questions were about what are the different incubator programs that exist for healthcare in Abu Dhabi? Dr. Asma?
We have, yes, thank you very much. We have a health tech program. A health tech program is a comprehensive support system that will have an element of acceleration, incubation, and also support in commercialization. So it is a program that is, it gives you everything, one-stop shop for, helping the startups to proceed across the whole ecosystem. Of course, we partner with different incubator programs, with different initiatives, with Hub 71, with MIT and others, in order to give more exposure and more, opportunities for the startups for exposure, for experimenting, for doing POCs, and also support them for the investment opportunities as well with partners.
If we have Sal as well. So one of the questions for the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, appreciating that you highlighted most of the support you provide, and it doesn't matter what question they have, they need to contact you. But one of the questions, Sal, is how do you assess the new ideas? Sal?
Yeah, so we, as I said when I was speaking, we look at what we view as the Abu Dhabi impact, and we can look at that quantitatively in terms of the number of new jobs, the total investment, as well as qualitatively looking at what kind of technologies will be brought in. Are they disruptive technologies? Will there be new IP? Will it address the strategic priorities and issues? And we also will always look at evaluating the opportunities alongside all of our partners. So working with the DoH, working to make sure that the solutions that we are bringing to Abu Dhabi are in line with the strategy of the government of Abu Dhabi.
Excellent, thank you. So for the benefits of the audience, I think you heard it from, so to speak, from the lion's mouth. You heard everything that Abu Dhabi got to offer. I would like to thank the distinguished panel. I think the insight was invaluable, and looking forward to welcome all innovators, investors to Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is in no short measure open for business, open for supporting all ideas. We are the gate to the region. We are confident in our abilities and capabilities. No matter what question you have, I think Abu Dhabi Investment Office is going to have the closing remarks, but needless to say, they are your single point of contact to access the whole system and all of its support criteria. We very much pride ourselves of living and working in Abu Dhabi. There are so many things, but the most important of them are the people. You will find many people here who are committed, passionate, but also welcoming in all kind of the world, from professional side or a personal side. And added plus is you are never more than 10 minutes away from a white sandy beach. So we pride ourselves in that as well. With that note, I'll leave it to Sal to do the closing up.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Omar, and thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you to the audience for all of those great questions. We will answer more in the coming days. We have kept track of all of them, so do not worry about that. And in the coming months, we will have a more sector-focused events to help you uncover opportunities across Abu Dhabi. So we hope that you enjoyed this one on healthcare. We had one last month on agriculture, and we have many more exciting ones coming. Please follow us on all of Abu Dhabi Investment Office's social media to stay up to date with all of our events. You can email us at inquiries@audio.ae with any questions or get in contact via our website at investinabudabi.gov.ae. Thank you all, and we hope to see you again soon, and we hope you enjoyed the event today. Have a good weekend.